Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is the second annual El Paso County Friends Group Kickoff. And over the next 60 minutes, we're going to learn all about all of the friends groups and partners who help make all the magic happen in our El Paso County parks. So just a little bit of housekeeping tonight before we get started and talk to some of our panelists. My name is Aaron Rogers. I'm with the Trails and Open Space Coalition. I am the program coordinator. And one of my big jobs with the Trails and Open Space Coalition is to help connect the different friends groups in our community. And this is one of the ways that we do it. It's events like this where we give these little nonprofits a chance to have a voice in the public. So tonight we're using the Zoom webinar format. This is being recorded so that we can send out to even more people afterward. We have 6 different nonprofits or friends groups. We have 1 nature center that we represent. And we also have close to 100 people signed up tonight. So thank you guys. So to kick things off, the first person that we're going to talk with tonight is Dana Nordstrom, and she works with El Paso County Parks. Dana.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our second annual 2021 El Paso County Friends Group Kickoff. Yay! I want to do a shout out to Trails Tap Room, Trails and Tap Room. They hosted us last year and it was a huge success. So I just wanted to remind you that they are still open and thriving, and remember to buy your beer with them. And then also, I don't know if there's any county park staff on the Zoom tonight. Aaron, do you see anybody like maybe Adam Robinson, Nathan?
You know, what we'll do is if you are one of the staff members of El Paso County Parks, if you can introduce yourself in the chat, then if we have time somewhere in the middle, we'll pull you guys up on screen so that everybody gets to see your lovely faces.
Okay, great. And I also put my email address in the chat room, so feel free to email me with any questions, concerns, or any ideas of how I can help your friends group be successful this year. Back to you, Aaron.
All right, guys, before we get started, down at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a chat feature. For that, if there's any questions that you have during the course of tonight, you can ask them there, and either El Paso County Park staff person or one of us, one of the panelists tonight, we can answer your questions. So keep them coming through the whole night and we'll get to you. So leading into this, each group gets 10 minutes to talk. They're going to tell you about the wonderful things that they're up to, their accomplishments in 2020, where they're going in 2021, and how you can help them succeed. So the first group that we have is the Bear Creek Garden Association. Karen, the floor is yours.
I'm Karen Stith from the Bear Creek Garden Association. We have a community garden which is located in Bear Creek Park. It's 2 acres in size. We have 104 full-size garden plots there, and a garden plot is 20 feet by 40 feet, which if you do the math, turns out to be 800 square feet. That's a lot. And people can rent a half a plot if they want to, or they can rent up to 2 full plots, which is 1,600 square feet. In a normal year, we'll have about 125 individuals who will rent plot space from us. And then by the time they bring in their spouses and their children, well, not even counting the children, we will come up to about 240 people on our email list who are current gardeners in the garden. Now, this garden was not actually started by the Bear Creek Garden Association. It was started by El Paso County at the time that the Poor Farm building was still sitting on the place where the county parks office building is today. And I believe at the time there still were people living in the Poor Farm building who needed help. They started this garden in 1975, and they ran it for about 10 years. But they found that it was getting to be a bit too much, and for a number of reasons. And the county commissioners were going to close it. And the gardeners went to the county commissioners in large numbers and said, you can't do this. This is too wonderful. We will take over, we'll take care of it, we'll make it work. And so at that point, the Bear Creek Garden Association was formed, and it is run today, as it was run from the beginning, by volunteers entirely. Nobody gets paid for doing any of this. We have a board that manages the garden. And this will be our 36th year of running this garden as a garden association. Back in the very beginning, the woman who led the charge on the county commissioners was named Char Nyman, and she was a firecracker. She ran the garden very firmly and strongly for a very long time. And at the age of 83, she retired in 2013. And the county agreed to name the garden for her. So the garden is known as the Charmaine Nyman Community Garden. Now I want to assure you that we always have pretty good turnover in our garden. We're that kind of community. Military, young people, there's always turnover. But I also have to tell you that we have had a flood of people wanting to garden because of the pandemic. And so we could finally reach a point where we have a waiting list, but we never have had before, not even last year. And we're always full. The garden's purpose is to grow organic vegetables. But if somebody gets in touch with me and wants to know if they can grow organic vegetables and sell them at the farmer's market, the answer is absolutely not. Because we are a 501c3 charitable organization. And it was hard enough to get the IRS to agree to let us grow our vegetables and take them home. They called that private benefit, but we convinced them that we do a lot for the community. So when our gardeners grow extra vegetables, more than they can use, they can give them to friends. And we also give them to two organizations in particular. The Cheyenne Mountain Zoo has been sending a truck down every week, once we really get rolling in the end of July. They will send their commissary truck down for a big pickup, and we just pour produce and corn stalks and everything they can use into the zoo. We also have a pickup weekly by Colorado Springs Food Rescue. Now, back in 1999, we encountered a problem, and that was that the county was required to manage weeds around the garden, but on the other hand, spraying herbicide around a vegetable garden is a really bad idea. So we came up with a great solution. We have an arrangement with the county called our Weed Management Agreement, and it allows us to bring in 500 cashmere goats every year. So we bring them in and they eat the weeds. We have to raise a whole lot of money to do that. We raise $10,000 every year in order to be able to bring the goats, and they become a really popular thing. Last year in November was our 21st annual grazing with the same herder who year-round travels with these goats. Another thing I want to tell you about is the fact that a film was made about our garden in 2018. It was made by Nancy Bentley and John Atkinson, who are Colorado Springs filmmakers. It has been shown in several film festivals, including one in Mexico, and it's currently streaming on Amazon. It's a half an hour long, and it's being really acknowledged for the way it talks about what the garden does for the people. You know, it isn't a film about how you grow a carrot, and it isn't a film about how you run a garden. They got in there and they were at our potlucks and our board meetings and walked the garden and got the stories and had a terrible time cutting it down to half an hour because they got so much good material. Eventually, we'd like to put this film on the county website, but we can't yet because it's still making the rounds of film festivals. So what I would like to do at this point is to show you a clip from that film. Let's see how successful I can be with this screen sharing. Well, that didn't work. No. Okay. Where are you? Where do I find you? I'm still here. So sorry about that. Here we go. The garden provides me with a wonderfully nurturing experience every year. What's really great about it is that we start over fresh.
Well, we have to redefine the individual garden plots. After the county tills, they till the whole area. And so we have to restake out the individual plots.
Plant more than you harvest. Give the earth all that it needs.
What do you got?
77, you say?
About that one.
This land was used by the El Paso County Poor Farm for a dairy farm and garden as early as.
So we're having a little technical difficulties with seeing the video right now. So what we'll do is that I will make sure that we get that posted on either Facebook, and we'll send out the link to the video as well with the at the end of this event to all the people who have an email address with us. So real quick, we have a few extra minutes here. If you have a question for Karen, please put it into the chat so we can ask her question. Well, it looks like we're good here. So Karen, thank you for that presentation about the gardens. And next up, we have the next group that's up is Allie with Creek Week. Allie, you're up.
Hey, hi everybody. My name is Allie Shook. I'm with the Fountain Creek Watershed Flood Control and Greenway District, and just wanted to throw a shout out to Aaron and Dana for inviting me to be a part of this. And I recognized some names on the attendee list tonight, and just really great to be a part of this awesome circle that we have. So I'm going to attempt to share my screen, and let's see, can you see that? We good? Yeah, okay. Well, we're going to talk about Creek Week. See if I can make that a little better to see. Okay. Your watershed needs you. So let's go ahead and just jump right in here. Resume slideshow. And can I just do this? Oh, shoot. Okay, well, that's not going to work. But I first wanted to introduce you, if you're not familiar, to your home watershed, which we lovingly refer to as the chicken tender, because it kind of looks like one. So the Fountain Creek watershed extends for 927 square miles from Palmer Lake all the way down to Pueblo. So 8 municipalities exist within this home watershed, and all of the land and water drains out of our watershed, water bringing everything south to the Arkansas River at Pueblo, but it doesn't stop there. If you can see here, this is a larger image of the largest watershed in the United States that we are indeed a part of as well. That's the Mississippi-Missouri Drainage Basin. So a drainage basin is another word for watershed. So all the water in this whole area, the middle part of our United States, all drains down to a common point there in the Gulf of Mexico. And as we know, it's not only water that ends up down there in the Gulf of Mexico, but many things that we don't want to see in our oceans, including litter. So that's really why we started working with Creek Week. There are so many reasons that we should be paying attention to our water. You know, we here in Colorado are fortunate. We are a a headwater state, meaning that there's 19 states that rely on water that comes from right here in Colorado. So we have the ultimate responsibility to those downstream neighbors. And this first image, the upper left, you can see there's sort of a highlighted area down there in the Gulf of Mexico. That's called the dead zone. And that's measured once a year, and scientists will go out in the middle of the ocean where the mouth of that Mississippi River is, and they have discovered an area the size of the state of Connecticut that's completely devoid of life. Not one little sea star, not one little Nemo, not one dolphin, because of all the upstream pollution. And that is from, large scale agriculture impacts that, motor vehicle fluids that leak out, litter and garbage and plastic that's biodegrading. So we ultimately have a responsibility all the way out to the ocean. We also know that plastic is extremely pervasive throughout our entire ecosystems across the world. There have been scientists that have studied rain falling in our glacial, in our mountain alpine lakes, and there's actually components of plastic in our alpine lakes. Frightening. We also have generations of children now that are growing up with screens instead of nature. And so I'd love to see the next generation be raised in an environment where they care and they want to protect and they want to see things better for their futures. We're all here because we love Colorado. We love recreating and hanging out on the trails, but who likes to see a big pile of trash? So a lot of reasons to do cleanups. They're fun, they're easy. Even this little 6-year-old kiddo can do it. So if she can, the rest of us can. So what is Creek Week? It was started 8 years ago. It's a program of the Fountain Creek Watershed District. And it's really about raising the awareness about littering and how we can help each of us do our part to make our communities cleaner and safer. It's always the last Saturday in September through the first Sunday in October, even during COVID. COVID did not stop us last year because it's, as you guys know, outdoor activities, you can get away with a lot more social distancing. And so it's going to be the 25th of September through October 3rd this year. We have all 8 municipalities participating, as well as the community of Trinidad, who's to our south. They want to also be a part of that. And we want to make this as barrier-free for all of y'all. So that's why we don't just do it on one day because, oh, the weather's bad, or, oh, my kid has soccer practice. No, there's 9 days and no excuses. So as you're developing your calendar and thinking about how we can engage our community, think about those 9 days. We do provide the bags, the gloves, the grabbers, safety information, sharps containers if you care to pick up needles when you're out there, and a lot of educational stuff. So we really want to make this open and available to everyone across the watershed. Here is a summary of the last 7 years. We have removed well over 100 tons of litter. You can see we did have a small decrease in participation last year, but those volunteers were still mighty and removed over 10 tons of litter. So very amazing numbers and a very inspiring program. We also like to ask folks what they find out there. And you might have done a cleanup yourself and found, I don't know, this lucky person found a half case of unopened beer. That wasn't on any of my cleanups. Deer legs, Barbies, some cash, a scooter. You never know what you're going to find out there. It's always an adventure. And then we've had several ripple effects, as we like to call them, from Creek Week. People come out once for Creek Week and go, I didn't realize there was a creek in my backyard, or, oh, I didn't realize the littering was so bad and I want to do more. And so this feeds right into what we're doing tonight, is partnering with the community partners that help do this more often. And so we've seen an increase in the adopters. Our Scoop the Poop program, we had creative people bring a goat out to do their volunteering and haul their trash away on the backs of a goat. We are starting to do more with pollinators. And so we're really working to connect folks with more of the native plant species that help create that healthy watershed. And we are a member of the Care for Colorado Coalition as well, so we get some access to their tools. If you're interested in getting a little more involved with our Creek Week program, we are going to have our steering committee kickoff meeting in the next couple weeks. You can see we are very well represented across the watershed, from government entities to nonprofits to individuals, our local colleges. Anyone and everyone is welcome to get involved and help continue to make this program bigger and better. And we always do tend to add on to Creek Week. And so the last couple of years, we've started encouraging our volunteers not only to pick up trash, but hey, what kind of trash are you finding out there? And how much of it? So we know from our volunteer feedback that the #1 littered item is cigarette butts. And so we're now starting a new initiative this year to actually work with some of our breweries and recycle those cigarette butts. I know it's disgusting, but there's a company that will recycle those. So this is another great opportunity if you have that perhaps maybe not super jazzed 14-year-old kid that's like, oh, there's some community service hours to do. I don't really want to pick up trash. Well, maybe they can be your data collector. So that's another great opportunity for someone in your group. We've also been utilizing the iNaturalist app, which is a great way for us to collect information about the biodiversity, the health of the plants and animals that we do find out there. If you're not sure what the plant is, you could take a picture, and there are live scientists on this app that will help you identify and add to that collection of knowledge that we're building about the biodiversity of our watershed. I did mention real quick the breweries. The Fountain Creek Watershed District is the first in Colorado to establish a brew shed alliance, because what's the #1 ingredient in beer? Oh, it's water, and we need to take care of it. So these are 25 member breweries that we have so far involved with the program that get it. They say, we know that it takes clean water to make great beer, and we want to help share that message. And so we work with them for fundraisers, and they do cleanups with this. We're also going to be doing a 10-month series of virtual liquid lectures. So you sign up, you get some coupons for discounted to-go beer, and you enjoy it during the program. So we'd like to encourage you to visit us in the next upcoming months with that, the virtual liquid lectures. We also have been working with the Cultural Office and the Outdoor Recreation Alliance to put together these litter letters. So this is perhaps an opportunity for your friends group to say, hey, we want to grab a letter this year for Creek Week. You fill it up with your garbage, and then it goes on display for the whole month of October. Just another great way to share that messaging and continue to work together. So mark your calendars. Creek Week's the 25th of September through October 3rd. We ask you to pick a date, pick a location, and pick it up. If you go to our website, you'll see a map that will help you identify where you are in the watershed, what trails or parks or open spaces may be available. We'll help you gather the tools and equipment you need, provide safety information and training, and help you have a great cleanup. So I appreciate everyone's time this evening. I'd be happy to answer questions at the end if there's time, Erin. There's my contact information, and we'll look forward to seeing you during Creek Week. Sometimes hard to say, but easy to do. Creek Week.
Thanks, Allie. You know, during Allie's presentation, she did get stuck on the first slide. So we'll make sure that her slideshow will be made available to everybody who's watching tonight. If you have any questions for Allie, you can put them into the chat box, and we can either ask those now, or she can answer as they pop up.
Allie, I didn't see the slides advance, so can you start again?
Shoot, yeah, let me just hit rewind quick.
Well,
It's always something. I tried.
You did a great job, Allie. Next up is Corey with the Medicine Wheel Trail Advocates.
oh, hello. You can hear me okay? And I'm trying to share my screen. Is the presentation coming up?
Yes, it is.
Yep. And well, I want to say, first of all, I am just so impressed, and it's so hard to follow Allie, and she is such a great collaborator, and it inspires me to think about all of the groups that are coming together here. So I'm trying to advance here on my screen. Let's see if this works. I wanted to say, did El Paso County come up? Can you see the El Paso County logo? Thank you so much to El Paso County Parks Community Services staff. In particular, I want to recognize Dana, who does such a great job of integrating with all of us nonprofit groups. And it really is a pleasure to work with the park staff and throughout community services. And I also wanted to acknowledge Tosk, and thank you very much, Erin, for your great work putting together a thing. Are my slides still going? Do you see who is Medicine Wheel? So just a quick overview. If anyone doesn't know, we've been building and maintaining trails in the Pikes Peak region since 1991. That actually means this should be our 30th year celebration. So if anyone wants to volunteer to help me plan a 30th year celebration, now would be a really good time. We don't have that celebration ready yet, but we've been around for a long time. We've been a nonprofit group since then. Well, we've been registered nonprofit since more recently than that. We are local experts for trail design and construction and also for trail advocacy. And we want to collaborate with you, and we believe in the power of the healing power of trails and the benefit that trails bring to our mental and our physical and our emotional health. And so we want to partner with you and make our trails better. So you can check out our website and also follow us on social media. And just to bring you up to date, in case you didn't pay attention the last 18 months or so, we've got a full new board. We have the best board of directors in the business. We have 8 people on our board. That's 4 women and 4 men. We've got a lawyer and a CPA who's our treasurer, and we've got communication experts, and we've got a lot of depth and varied expertise on our board, and that's given us a lot of momentum. We've redone our mission, and I want to point out that we are mountain bikers who build, share, and protect inspiring trail experiences. But I want to be clear, we are mountain bikers, and we're advocating for great trail experiences for all trail users. So yes, we're going to advocate for mountain bikes, but we are there for great trail connections, for great trail running and equestrian uses and all other kinds of trail users. Our vision is to create a world-class network of mountain bike and trails, multi-use trails throughout the Pikes Peak region. And I want to refer to our values. Number 1 is our value that and I'm bringing this up because we've reiterated our mission, our vision, and our values this year with our new board. Number 1 is recreation. And right behind that is number 2 is conservation, because we've recognized that it's very hard to ride a bike if you don't have a world. And therefore, we think conservation is an important part of what we do. We also believe in collaboration, and that's why I'm so inspired by Allie and looking forward to some work with Allie and other groups this year. We also value inclusivity, integrity. You can trust us to tell you what we think. We'll be straight with you. And we also value bicycling. And this year we met with some consultants, and we've learned what our archetypes are. So if you're wondering how we're going to behave, you'll see us acting like a warrior, if we need to, an ambassador, because we want to bring everyone together, and we're innovators. We're looking for creative ways that we can get along with other trail users and improve the trail experiences. I put up here, we heart volunteers. Our organization is volunteer driven. I'm the only employee, and it's my job to create a great volunteer experience for you. So if you're interested in joining our organization, we have broken up the work that we do. Probably everybody thinks about going out and swinging a shovel and digging trail. And so that's our trail committee. And that's the committee that focuses on the operational aspects of how to execute a good trail build day. But we also have our advocacy committee, and that the job of that group is to create the right decisions at the right moments so that we get the trails that we're all inspired by. So that's relationship building, working with other groups, working with land managers, trying to understand how people want to use trails, and finding ways to get agreement on the trails that we want. We also have a communications committee, and I'm really pleased to say we've got excellent communications experts. If you're interested in any kind of communication, sort of traditional media or social media, we're expanding our video capabilities, and we've got some really great leadership on our volunteer team right now through communications. We have a social and events committee, and if you like throwing parties, we are the right group that you want to work with. And I see Dana's grinning because she knows she's been to some medicine wheel parties. Yes, we do have the best social engagements, and we're really looking forward to the time when we can get back together and see you all in person. We have a membership committee that's focused on trying to understand different audiences within our membership, and to try to find ways to speak to our membership and to represent them properly. And of course, we've got development and fundraising committee and a finance committee. And if that's your thing, we could use more people on our finance committee. It's not maybe as exciting as going out and getting dirty on the trail, but that's how we operate. We are really volunteers are a huge part of what we do, and we always need more volunteers. So whatever you're good at, we've got space for you. Some of the focus areas I wanted to mention for 2021 include a new focus on justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. And our board is really interested in learning how we can improve access to trails and to mountain biking experiences. And so one of the things we're trying to do is look at ways that we can bring mountain biking or trail experiences to parts of the region that don't have great mountains. So we're looking in places further away from Pikes Peak that we can provide some experiences that inspire people to get more engaged with trails. And I really want to compliment El Paso County for the Pineries Trail, which is a little further away. It's up in Black Forest, but what a great amenity to our trail system. I've been up there. I live in Manitou Springs, but I've traveled multiple times to go up and check out that trail system. And I'm really excited about what's going on up in Black Forest. Another initiative in 2021, we're really focused on trail etiquette. We believe that our trail system capacity is increased when we can all get along on the trails and when we can understand each other's uses. And, you know, we've thought a lot about this, and all of us who are mountain bikers and we're advocating for these trail experiences, we all also use the trails in other ways. And we're all multiple kinds of trail users. So it's a big focus for Medicine Wheel. And, you know, we don't want to just build more trails. We're not trying to build more segregated trails, the bikes over here and the hikers over here. In some cases, that's a necessary concession. But overall, we believe that our trail experiences are better if we've got multi-use trails and we all can learn to use the trails together better. So that's a focus for us. I want to remind everyone, when we do have trail disagreements, it usually results from as a root cause is passion. We're also passionate about trails. Trails are so important to us. They give us the healing that we need in our lives, that we connect so deeply to our trails. And it's really easy if you feel a little bit differently than someone else to feel like that gap is really different. And you know, as a basic point of compassion, I want to invite everyone who's using our trails to, you know, show up with an open mind and be ready to share, and just know that everyone's there to experience trails in a positive way like you are. And, you know, try to see other trail users in a positive light right when you show up. So something that you should think about when you show up on trails. We do often mention the downfall of the Strava social media app, which encourages sometimes people to race on a trail that is not a closed course. And we just want to remind everyone that our multi-use trails are usually multi-direction and multi-user. And especially if you're a mountain biker, it is your responsibility to ride in control at all times to make sure that you can shut it down and get out of the way of another trail users. And that, you know, that goes doubly for when you encounter equestrian users, because you've got a danger of spooking a horse and causing a real serious danger. So please ride and use our trails in control at all times. A big issue that we try to educate people about in our region is trail use when wet. There's some trails that really get a lot better when they're wet, and there's trails that are just awful and you really want to avoid when they're wet. And if you're not sure, please take a step back and do a little bit of research and find out, because if you go and use wet trails, you might have a really big negative impact. Also in 2021, we're going to be doing more videos and podcasts. We're trying to reach out to people more to let people know what's going on in the advocacy world and ways that they can get involved to help improve trails. And we're happy to announce that our plans this year are, we are going to have some professional trail crews. In the past, we've always had only volunteer trail work days managed by volunteers. And this year we are going to hire some professional trail crews, and we're going to expand our capacity. We're looking forward to having more volunteer days and making those volunteer days more meaningful for our volunteers and providing a good connection. So if you were ever thinking about helping out with trails, now is the time. Please get involved, and Medicine Wheel is the organization. We'd love to have you. Oh yes, our board always likes me to remind, can you guys see the iceberg? Can anyone see the iceberg? This is the trail building iceberg. So starting, the idea here is what you see is the trail layout and construction, and there's a whole lot of work that goes in behind that. And starting with the master plan process, and the master plan is the process that we use to agree on how we're going to develop our public lands. And it's really the concept that Medicine Wheel lives and dies by. We bring people to the master plan process. We encourage healthy debate and discussion. And at the end of the day, we'll make a plan, and it's the master plan, and that's what we're going to do with our public lands. So know that a lot of work happens before we can show up and swing a shovel. Since I've got a great captive audience, I'm just going to take a quick minute to talk about Jones Park. Right now, the Jones Park master plan process is open, and Medicine Wheel is an active advocate in this, and we really are appreciative of our partners at El Paso County Parks for making this discussion possible. As everyone probably knows, Jones Parks was transferred to the county in 2015 with the promise of improved local control. And so Medicine Wheel is advocating for our exercising of that local control rather than deferring decisions about how we implement our master plan to outside agencies that might be federal or otherwise. So we love to keep that control here in the county. So we've got a conservation easement that's held locally in Jones Park. There's this master planning process that's happening right now that's going to determine our priorities for conservation and recreation. And we are actively advocating for a convening of the Jones Park Roundtable, which is a group of all the stakeholders, including conservation and recreation groups and land managers that care about Jones Park. And so we're working with county staff now to move forward with the roundtable process in Jones Park, and we're really pleased about that. And I put concerned. Medicine Wheel is watching very carefully, and we are working hard to make sure that the right trails are included in this master plan. And again, we're very grateful for our wonderful cooperation with all staff at the county. That's all I got. I'd be happy to take any questions at any time. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for being here. And thanks, Aaron. Great fun tonight.
Thank you, Corey. And today during the Indie Give big celebration, Medicine Wheel won the Llama Award for having the most prolific llama post. So good job, Corey. Corey has questions in the Q&A and in the chat, and he'll answer those to the best of his ability. The next group that we'll hear from tonight is, let's see, the next group up is Mark with the Friends of the Bear Creek Dog Park. Mark, you have the floor.
Hello, can everybody hear me all right? My name is Mark S. I serve as the president for the Friends of Bear Creek Dog Park. This June will mark my 7th year being involved with Bear Creek Dog Park. When I started coming to the meetings in 2014, like June 2014, there were plans to build a memorial and finish a 5-6 foot fence around the entire area. With those done, it actually makes the park now 26 acres, which 2 of those acres are actually for small dogs. Any dog 25 pounds or under, or I should say elderly dogs are always welcome in that area. But anyhow, I guess I'm probably just going to talk more about my personal dealings with the park. It is a constant maintenance, clean up. Every year I have an event called April Stools, which again, usually about the first week of April. And in October, we do an event called Ghouls and Stools. And again, it's just a fun way for us to get volunteers and people in the community out there to clean up the park. Again, I wouldn't say that we always have constant messy grounds, but again, it's our wonderful volunteers in the morning and actually throughout the day take it upon themselves to clean up after several other people. And that's okay, because that's just the way the place has to work. What else should I talk about? Oh, like I said, I more personal experiences. I was born, or I come from Memorial Hospital. They call it Memorial Central now because apparently there's another one. But anyhow, as a kid, I was always interested in the history of the park. And when I was a teenager or so, the actual physical poorhouse, I guess that's what the county would call it, actually was still a brick building, was still where the headquarters is now. And I think they took it down in the late 90s or mid 90s, something like that. But anyhow, the dog park itself basically started off as a dog loop. It was just a field of weeds, and people from the neighborhood and just around the city would come and walk their dog in a loop. And eventually it evolved into an established dog park in 1997. And since then, the first master plan, or I guess the continued master plan, was to, again, build a fence for all visitors to keep them in the yard and not out on 21st Street. We've built a bathroom in 2012. We've built a dog memorial, which I just have good old fashioned pictures. Does that take up my spot? That was completed about 4 years ago, and we sell plaques to people, and the money just goes right back into the park. It being part of the Poor Farm, probably 2 years ago, a dog dug this up. This is it's hard to read. This is the lid to a butter churn circa 1899. And if you walk up the main trail in Bear Creek Dog Park, you come to a marker in the road that signifies this is where the pest house was. Again, this would have been 1901, 1900 something. But anyhow, it's been there a while, and the fact that it's been a dog park now for the past 24 years, I guess this is year 24, it's just an amazing accomplishment. I guess when I started out, I didn't actually have a dog. I would just take my brother's dog and take him to small dog park because he was working. And several people there said, hey, you should get involved with the board. I was like, oh, okay, I'll do that. So again, for another year or two, I still didn't own a dog. And they were on to me. They're like, Mark, what are you in the dog park always doing things and you don't have a dog? It's like, well, all right, I guess that's fair. So 4 years ago, I rescued a mill dog from a place out east, and I've used the park ever since to socialize that dog, which has been awesome. Most people don't have a big yard. A lot of people that live in the apartments and surrounding areas that just don't have the size to run their dogs use Bear Creek Dog Park. It is an off leash, obviously. Again, I always say first time users, if you don't know what your dog is going to do in an environment with several other dogs, you can come in and use the fenced agility area, which is probably about 50 feet by 50 feet. And again, it's tough. I tell them, come during off times when it's not so busy. But in the past year, it seems like every day has just been busy. And again, that's okay. We can, the park and the parking lot were designed to only handle a certain amount of people at any given time. Because that probably the one question I always get is, when will you add more parking? And the answer is probably not. Anyhow, I'm surprised at the amount of handicap people that use the park, which is great. Motorized wheelchairs can make it around the full dog loop, which is about 2/3 of a mile. It's on a hill, so we get a lot of erosion and washout. But again, the county has been awesome and always coming to our help and our aid when heavy rain falls or snow falls, wipe out trees and trails. They're always there to fix it. But again, I'm appreciative because it is open to anyone and everyone, minus bikers. I don't get a lot of bikers in the park, but we do get some. And I figure, okay, maybe you're just lost, but the trail is on the outside of the park, and that's okay. I actually get quite a few people that do not have dogs that just heard about the park or just you're driving by, however, and just wanted to see what's going on. So again, everybody's welcome. You don't actually have to have a dog, but it's preferred. What else? I guess I do want to say, while people are listening, thank you very much to El Paso County staff for not closing in the year of 2020. I think you've helped a lot of people get out of the house, go do something, or just kind of keep their sanity with not closing the park. Actually, the only time in the past few years we've closed the park was a bear and her cub were in the park, and dogs and bears do not get along. So the park was closed for the day, about a day, day and a half, until Mama Bear and her cub just happily moved along. Again, one of our main goals of being a friends group is to A, keep that park clean and always clean as best as we can, and B, to keep as much nature as possible. It's kind of a give and take, but we try. What else? Normally I said the April Stools and Ghouls and Stools, but one of our goals was to try and have a big cleanup day once a month. And then when the Great American Cleanup comes around and Creek Week, we're actually May and at the end of September or so. I think I'm about right on those dates. But anyhow, just on Tuesday, it was 55 degrees out and I had a Groundhog Day cleanup. We, several volunteers that I never met before got the message on Facebook and just showed up and were more than willing to help out. We collected about 25-gallon bags of trash, poop, and cigarette butts. A lot of weeds, but again, it's the time of year where the park's just not very green. What else? So again, I'll probably do something in March. I can't get too many people together just because of what the pandemic is. But again, with such a big yard, there's plenty of room for everyone. There's plenty of spaces to clean up. Allison, I was going to ask you, what is the name of the people that recycle cigarette butts? Anyhow, most of what we do is our friends group is basically sustainability of that park is everything. In the past 2 years, we have finished a 5-foot fence around the south end, the north side, and the east side. And then 2 gates that actually go over the creek that break away in case, because that creek rises and it falls and some things come barreling down. Anyhow, sometimes I get off on a sidetrack about maintenance, but like I said, it is constant out there.
Mark, you have done a wonderful job. The Bear Creek Dog Park is still one of the top 5 dog parks in the entire nation. And it really does take our community to keep it nice and clean with all the traffic that comes through. And Mark, we are very thankful for you and the rest of your crew and all of the El Paso County workers who put their time and their blood, sweat, and tears into it. So next up, the next group that we have that has the floor is the Friends of Fox Run. Janet, you have the floor.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay? I hope. Thank you very much. I have a treat for you, and that is I'm going to be quick. I don't know if my pictures will show, so I'm going to skip that part. And in the interest of sharing with you what we do, I'm just going to jump in. We started in 2019. We got the 501(c), and we're official with one of the highest visitation rates and myriad activities at Foxhorn Park. We feel it's important to engage and encourage the community to join us with Friends of Foxhorn Park. It's one of the most used parks in El Paso County Regional Park System. We have the forest, we have sports areas, we have a dog park, we have pavilions for people to rent, the huge acres and acres of the sports fields. And my favorite is the beautiful forest area that you can take trails on. In 2019 and 2020, we had events and activities. We had Friends of Foxhorn Park Incorporation, which was huge. We had Wells Fargo and other corporate supporters attending work days, holiday ornament making parties, mindful walks through the forest with groups such as the international adventure group Black Girls, Hike Globally, local community member hikes, meditation and mindful hikes, naturalist hikes. We had celebrity guests. You may have heard of Donnie Dust if you're a fan of the History Channel. He does survival programs, and he came, and since he lives here in Monument, he wanted to give to the Monument area and the community, and we did a foraging. What kinds of foods can we find right here in Foxhorn Park and in our backyards? Hummingbird festivals, we take nature walks and understand the needs of the hummingbirds and natural birds. Creek Week, we had a beautiful workday event, local high school groups, the kids do their civics classes and community service credits. And we have monthly meetings that you're all welcome to come to. They're at the park when we can, outside or in the warming hut, and also at the South Winds Fine Art Gallery, which is across the street from the North Trailhead. Looking for, and which is a lot to do when you only have been involved in just a little over a year. In 2021, we're looking to go outdoors mostly so that everybody can be involved. And we're going to have educational hikes. One of our goals is to encourage proper trail etiquette for people who ride bikes, horses, hike, and do dog walking, to understand the etiquette of trails and not to go off the trails. That's one of the big things. The very fragile areas all around the trails really can be damaged if people start playing around with going off trail. We have trail work days where we repair the trails. We have fallen log pickup days. They call that the dog hair days. And you can get free wood. So if you want to have a fire at your house, come on over. We've got free wood free. We stack it up on the edge of the trail. You can take it home. Monthly, our meetings are on the 4th Thursdays of the month. We're going to have a Zoom meeting this month on the 25th, and we encourage all of you to join us. And if you show up, you just may win a prize. Thank you.
Thanks, Janet. So the next group we have up is the Black Forest Trails Association.
Hey, thanks, Aaron. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good. Rich Mock here. I'm the new president of the Black Forest Trails Association. I took over for Larry Ferris, who was the president for over 10 years. So tough act to follow. He did a lot of great things for our organization. Shout out to Dana and to Adam Baker, the hardest working man in showbiz when the county fair is going on. He's always out there humping in that too. So Black Forest Trails brings you this newsletter that you find at the trailheads and that too. We're a little bit different than typical friends group in that we have a large area of responsibility. On the south around Woodman up to County Line Road, on the west 83, and then out to Bradshaw Road is our area of responsibility. Let me show a couple slides, see if I can get this to work. Share screen. There's my PowerPoint. There's my slideshow from the beginning. So Black Forest Trails has been around for over 40 years and that's our mission statement there. Create a safe, legitimate, non-motorized, multi-use recreational trail system that connects the Black Forest neighborhoods and to the El Paso County Regional Trail System. We have bi-monthly board meetings with probably the second best board in El Paso County, as I understand. And then we have an annual members meeting in July that we invite all our members to. We have over 100 members right now. There's our website and there's our Facebook, which has over 800 followers. I created a little Gmail account, president.bfta, as a point of contact, so I can hand that out to the next president and that too. Notice our logo up in the upper right and that too. We're big on trail etiquette and we've adopted the yield signs to do that as well. So past successes, we've worked with the county on Falcon Regional Park and Pine Rees Open Space, which is a great asset to the Black Forest. We helped to establish and support friends groups. Larry was always at my Homestead Ranch friends group when I was trying to get that going. And we're a Section 16 lead for the cleanup that's coming up in April 24th, I think it's planned for.
And Rich, your PowerPoint's not working, so just to let you know.
Okay, well, it's working on my machine, but I don't understand. So it's my first go at sharing. We've put several park benches in Black Forest Regional Park and that, and have commemorated those to people who have done a lot of good things for Black Forest Trail Association. We're currently working a Red Tail Ranch connector to Pine Rees Open Space and that too. So we're building a trail through there to connect the neighborhood to Pine Rees and that too. We also want to work on connecting Section 16 to Pine Rees Open Space, which just involves kind of a trail that would run along Volmer Road, but then you have to go across that as well to get there and that too. Something new that we're working with Dana on is this Pine Rees Open Space Storm Shelter. And it's still in the planning phase in that too, but what we're trying to do is it's an 8-mile trail, and about the halfway point, there's a nice overlook that takes in Pikes Peak in that. And we want to put a storm shelter out there and work with the county to do that, using some of the burnt wood and that to build it. And what we're looking for is donations from the community, from Black Forest Trails Association members, and the association will match their donation up until $1,250, and we'll have a commemorative plaque inside with all their names on it and that too. We always need new board members, so maybe we'll be number 1 when we get some super board members and that too. So if you're interested, come and help out. It's a good group. We have a members meeting in July, I mentioned, and it's going to be at the Black Forest Brewery, and we'll have a free beer if you come. So another subject, this is kind of a half of a friends group, I guess, is the Palmer Divide Trails Friends. My wife and I have volunteered to take that over, and you can't see it, but my little picture there has our names at the bottom of it. And Dana, I think that's great to put people's name on it because it makes us a lot more responsible. When I go over there with a hike with my wife, Chris, she says, our name's on the sign. We got to make sure that we keep the trail clean, and that we always do. If you haven't been there, it's 2 miles out, 2 miles back, and it runs along the old Kiowa Creek bed and that too. I can see it in the future as being a connector to the Pine Rees and that too. We're going to be organizing a trail cleanup as part of the Great American Cleanup Pikes Peak Partners on April 24th. Meet at the trailhead at Hodgen and Wood Lake around 10 o'clock that day. So that's the slides that I have that you didn't see, and I'm sure Aaron will distribute those to everyone. Let me get back to my Zoom here. Questions for me? Come join Black Forest Trails Association. Thank you very much.
Rich, that was a great job. And the Black Forest Trails Association is one of my favorite groups out there. Right now, there's no questions coming through for you yet, but if we see anything, we'll definitely have Rich answer that for you. the next person up, we have Nancy Bernard representing the nature centers in El Paso County.
Good evening, everybody. It's so inspiring to hear all the work that each of you and your groups are doing. And tonight, I'm kind of a dual purpose here. I'm representing the El Paso County Nature Centers, Bear Creek and Fountain Creek, but specifically the Friends of El Paso County Nature Centers. And they are the longest lived Friends group associated with El Paso County Parks. They've been around for about 40 years, and they, as a nonprofit 501c3 group, and they provide volunteers at our nature center desks, receptionists, environmental education leaders. They raise thousands and thousands of dollars to support the nature centers. They make our special events happen by volunteering their time. Also in nature camps, some of our events like the Jack-o'-lantern Trail at Fountain Creek and Bear Creek by candlelight at Bear Creek Nature Center, the Bear Run, Family Fun Day, just on and on. We couldn't do all those events for the community that the parks do if it weren't for our Friends group. They're also a major sponsor of the Pikes Peak Birding and Nature Festival, which perhaps you have attended or will attend in the near future. Another thing is they're an advocate for us when they need to speak up to the park board or to the Board of County Commissioners, and we appreciate that, and we just couldn't operate without them. If you haven't visited the nature centers, we operate year-round at both Bear Creek and Fountain Creek. Did you know that Bear Creek Nature Center was the first nature center in Colorado? That's a pretty spectacular reputation to have, and Fountain Creek has been around now for almost 30 years. We're nationally recognized and award-winning, and have a full slate of programs year-round that our Friends group helps with, from our Children's Nature Series to weekend family programs to nature camps and special events. And just so you know that our mission at the nature centers is to connect people to their natural and cultural resources and inspire them to be stewards of the parks and our environment. You may not know, or Dana may have already told you, that this is El Paso County Parks' 50th year anniversary. And so we invite you to look on our website for 50 years, for 50 activities for 50 years, celebration all year long. So just much appreciation to all of these Friends groups who make El Paso County a great place to live and play. That's it for me. Thanks.
Thanks, Nancy. And one of the amazing things to put into perspective is that with the 40 years that the El Paso County Nature Center Friends group has, the other group that comes closest to them is the Friends of the Fluorescent Fossil Beds. A nice little secret out in western Taylor County, has been around for 35 years. The majority of the 25 Friends groups in El Paso County have only been around for 7 years or less. So it's amazing how the longevity of them. Well, that is all the groups that we had scheduled for tonight. We had a couple of groups who couldn't make it. The newest group is the Friends of the Fountain Creek Dog Park. They have a group Facebook page that is worth checking out. And then we have the Friends of the Equestrian Skills Course. They are one of the great groups out there as well. With I believe it's still the only equestrian skills course in the nation. They have a wonderful story that was on ESPN if you want to learn more about them. I'll attach that link to an email going out to everybody at the end of this. But overall, thank you guys for all the panelists tonight for sharing your passion about your organizations and the parks and the places that you love. I want to thank all of the county staff who gave up time tonight to listen in to us. We love the fact that you are passionate about your parks that you work in and care for. And we honor your sacrifices as well with the hard work that you do. So I'm going to turn over to Dana for any last thoughts. She is speechless. It's been such a wonderful night. She is speechless. So again,
must be a first. Okay.
So I want to thank everybody again for coming tonight. Next year, well, almost a year to today, last year, we did our first big Friends Kickoff in the middle of a blizzard. This year, we're in the middle of a pandemic on Zoom. Next year, I'm hoping for white sands and beaches. We'll see if that happens. But thank you, everybody who has tuned in. And if you're seeing this after the fact and on the recording, please send it to 10 more people that you know so we can spread the word about all the wonderful El Paso County Friends groups and organizations out there. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Bye, thanks.
Thank you, Aaron.